Welcome, everybody, to Nothing Less Than Extraordinary podcast. And I am super excited. I got this beautiful lady, Alexi Bracy, with us today from Ontario, my fellow Canadian. Love it. So welcome with us, Alexi.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited too to be here.
I'm very excited. So the topic of today's discussion is going to be getting to the root of any health challenge. And we're going to really dive into that, getting a better understanding of what some of the struggles are. And I want to introduce Alexi just really briefly. Alexi is a brain health educator, and she's also a cancer reversal. So she overcome cancer, and we'll go into that story a little bit without any kind of help or medical assistance. So we're going to go into that story. So Alexi, I'm so grateful to have you here today. So looking forward to having your story being shared on this podcast here. So tell us a little bit about how that was like for you, what you went through. You got the cancer diagnosed, and then how you got to doing what you're doing right now, which is brain health.
Okay, well, I'll never forget that phone call. The phone rang. It was like 5 minutes after the hour, 9 o'clock on Monday morning, and the voice at the other end said, "You have cancer. We want to book you for your surgery." And of course, like dead silence. And I just said, "Thank you." And I hung up the phone. And I knew then that I was going to beat it. I had no idea because I at that point knew nothing about health or diet or cancer. Like I was mainstream Joe, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And 25 years ago, the availability of the internet is not what it is today. So I spent hours at bookstores and libraries.
Mm-hmm.
And I was living on the west coast of Canada where the raw food movement had started. It was a really hot item, had come up from California.
Mm-hmm.
And in Vancouver, it's easier to be on a raw food diet than it is on Ontario, given the fluctuations in temperature. So I embraced a raw food diet. I did some emotional work, and I got rid of toxins in my home. And without any medical intervention, drugs, or surgery, I was cancer-free a year later. And so that sort of changed the trajectory of my life, because I was a traditional chef at the time. And so I put on switch caps, and I was now a raw food chef. And I just continued and have continued to study all these last 25 years, everything and anything about holistic health and healing from that perspective. And so based on the vast education and resources I've acquired, I've helped many people, not just with their cancer challenges, but with all sorts of different health challenges. And it all stems to two main things: toxicity. But toxicity meaning negative thoughts in your mind, and toxicity with the people around you, toxicity with what you wear, the toiletries, the cleaning products. So it's sort of multifaceted. And so I've been very interested in that, like I said, for the last 25 years. And then I had a really moving experience at a nursing home where I saw firsthand women in their 50s with dementia. They were just sitting at the dining room table, slumped over. We had to cut up their food and serve it to them. No interaction, no social eye contact. And I went, it doesn't have to be this way. Unless your life has been touched by somebody with dementia, you don't know what it's like. And so don't make dementia somebody else's problem. You have to be proactive. Again, it comes down to toxins, whether they're mental, emotional, or physical. So it doesn't matter whether it's cancer, whether it's dementia, it's the same thing, toxins in many capacities.
And dive us into a little bit more depth in terms of how you got to be cancer free. I know you had mentioned with regards to changing your diet and doing things on your own. So getting rid of the toxicity with regards to that. And I like the fact that you mentioned that toxicity is one, it's mental. The other one is toxin within whatever you consumes and all the things around you. And then the toxicity of people who you surround yourself by, right? So how did you how long did it take you from being diagnosed from cancer? I think you said a year and a half later, right?
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so how did you go about into doing that? I know you researched it all up. So what are some of the changes in getting rid of those toxicity? Did you clean out some people that were part of your groups? Did you get rid of some of the food that you were eating?
Well, definitely, I went on a raw food diet, being plant-based, so no
Mhm.
meat products of any sort, and
Yeah.
primarily organic, because
Mhm.
our food is so heavily sprayed with toxins. For
Yeah.
example, glyphosate has been proven and admitted by the World Health Order that it is a carcinogen. And glyphosate is the active ingredient found in Monsanto's Roundup that farmers use to spray their crops.
Mhm.
So, and so you have to learn to identify the foods that contain glyphosate, but it's also found in packaged foods. So there's a really great website, EWG, environmentalworkinggroup.org, where you can find the list of foods that are toxic
Mm.
and those that are okay.
Mhm.
So diet was a real big one.
You're
And
gonna
then
like kind
the toileting
of
ourselves with so many toxins, from what the soaps, the shampoos, the conditioners, the nail polish, the
Mm-hmm.
clothes that we wear, the toxins in the fibers, the food colorings, and then, you know, the makeup, your
Mm-hmm.
cleaning products, what you wash your floors with, what you wash your clothes with, you
Mm.
know, they're also toxic. So you can, there are healthier products out there that are more beneficial. They're not going to cause all these diseases and cancers and whatever. So I got rid of them. I didn't wear any makeup for 2 years until I found a line that didn't have all the toxins in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did some emotional work. I
Mm-hmm.
invited a group of friends over and we did some meditations.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's not your friends that are just toxic by feeding you negative things or putting you down or
Mm-hmm.
not supporting you. It's the media. Media is all negative.
Mm-hmm.
Do this or else. The government has done this. There's a war over here. Like we're just surrounded by negativity.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I have over the years not had friends that were friends way back then. And there's an old saying: there's two prisoners of war
Mm-hmm.
walking on their way to freedom. And the one says to the other, "So did you forgive him?" To which he replies, "No, never." And the first says, "Well, then they have you prisoner in your mind."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you have to, there's so much negativity, and some people are well-meaning
Mm-hmm.
because they're having their own issues,
Yeah.
and it's not for us to try to correct them.
Yeah.
We just worry ourselves and treat and respect them with love.
Yes.
So, and then when you point a finger at somebody that you do this, you didn't do that,
Mm.
there's three pointing back at you,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know. So we're not here to preach and change the world. We can share,
Yeah.
but we're number one that we have to be concerned about. And maybe we'll be an inspiration. Maybe people will look up for us and say, "How did you do it? I want to know."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I love that energy about you, Alexi, is that you are so knowledgeable in so many area and you got the biggest heart. You're always sharing me stuff. I can't wait to dive into all of those different material. I have to find the time to do it, but I have committed myself. Like when I do commit to something, I always get it done. So I at least answer your email. I will check them out and I will definitely look at that. But you are so inspirational in your story, in the sense that you clearly took charge of your own life and you realize, okay, you knew, like, and that's the intuitive part. You knew without knowing the how that you're going to be able to beat this thing. And knowing that you actually went and take charge of it and decided to do your own research, figure things out, and here you are today, cancer free. Congratulations, so proud of you, and we're so lucky to have you among us, um, and doing all of that work that needs to be done. So when you talked about the emotional work, what kind of emotional work did you actually had to do with regards to that?
Well, for example, we all have traumas from childhood, adulthood,
Mm-hmm.
and current. And,
Yeah.
some of the traumas are quite profound from childhood, but like currently, it may be a trauma that, like, for example, myself, I was in a car accident last year that was not my fault.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, a week later, because I had balance issues, I fell and broke my femur.
Oh,
So that's a trauma, you
yeah.
know, it just happened. So you sort of try to find the good thing about it, the lesson you're there to hear, or the positive thing. In terms of childhood traumas, there's a test that was put together by Kaiser Permanente, a well-respected health research company 30 years ago. 10 questions, traumas between the ages of 3 and 18. Your father was abusive verbally, mentally, emotionally. He kicked your mother out. He was a drunk. And people that score 2 or more yeses out of a possible 10 have an 80% chance of developing either cancer or heart disease or arteriosclerosis after the age of 50. And the higher the numbers, the positives, the numbers escalate. So we do have to resolve these emotional triggers. Some people, it's so ingrained or they've forgotten it, and some people don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
But you have to deal with them. It's totally imperative. I have a really great exercise that I do with people, and you never re-traumatize, and you just take baby steps, you know, and it just clears you. It opens other possibilities, because those things are holding you down. They're grabbing you down because you're thinking, oh, I'm not worthy. I'm not deserving. I'll never do it. So
Yeah. It's
anything
like
you
a
want to,
blocked artery. It's like a blocked artery. You need to be able to clear that out in order to let something good comes in, an opportunity to come in. But I did that test for the emotional. Very, very good. Very insightful. And like you said, trauma. And sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, it's okay.
And you can expand on it. Sorry about that. Otherwise, my memory goes out of the drain. But with regards to the emotional, Alexi, it's really, really dead on to that. If you have an emotional thing, whether it's through a childhood trauma or a situation that you've gone through recently, if you don't deal with them, they just linger and they grow bigger and bigger. So I always say, and in the passing of my little sister, that's what it was. It was an emotional trauma of something that she's gone through. Yes, she had depression, but it's the emotional link to that she was never able to heal from it, and that consumed her, and that's what took away her life. But that's why I think it's beautiful and amazing in the sense that you brought this to the forefront, allowing people to understand that you need to do the work, you need to do the healing when it comes to the emotional aspect of it before it actually overcomes you and take over.
Yeah, I know. And we all have them to various degrees. There's nothing to be ashamed about.
Yep.
You know, our parents did the best they knew how because they learned from their parents, and we're doing the same thing with our kids. So it's sort of a never-ending thing. But you know, you can break those trauma lines.
Yeah. Yeah. And Alexi, you actually do the work with a lot of clients in this field where you're helping them through the process to learn what are some of the strategy that can actually do the internal work themselves so that they can actually be in a better space and then to be able to live a much more healthy and thriving like circumstances in their own life there. So tell me, like, when you are actually working with people, like what are some of the things that people come to see you with?
Uh, are you talking emotionally, or are you talking physically?
Well, I think let's go with like the emotion because that's what we're talking about right now.
Okay. Well, I mean, you know, you start off small and then you work your way into something bigger.
Yeah.
So it could be, you know, something your teacher said to you
Mhm.
10 years ago, or, you know, the teacher said to your mother, don't spend money on piano lessons on her, she'll never amount to anything. And you hear that repeatedly with
Yeah.
people that have been well respected in their field, whether a pianist or a composer or an author.
Mm.
Very often they did it just out of sheer determination,
Mhm.
but they grew up in a background, well, don't do that. You're never going to do that. You're stupid. You're not worthy. You
Mm.
got kicked out of home. So, you know, it's, if you think you can, you're right. If you think you can't, you're also right. But you have to take action.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
and so, you know, when I work with some of my clients, you know, where can you get the emotional support from a friend,
Yeah.
from a pet?
Yeah.
Do something that feeds you emotionally, that puts a smile on your face, to
Mhm.
fill that void, things that you don't have in your life, because there's always something to be grateful for. In
Yeah.
spite of all the negativity, there's always something to be grateful for. What I do is just out of the blue is when I'm walking my dogs,
Yeah.
even with service providers on the phone.
Yeah.
I meet somebody at the grocery store, at the ATM machine, at the bank, and I say, "Can I put a check on your heart?" I approach a complete stranger. Why not? Behind every face, there is a story.
Yeah.
Maybe they lost a loved one. Maybe somebody has cancer. And so for 2 minutes, I have a captive audience. They
Hmm.
laugh out loud. It lowers cortisol,
Yeah.
raises the endorphins, the feel-good hormones in your brain. And
Hmm.
laughter has been shown to promote longevity.
Hmm.
And then when you go home and share with a loved one saying, "You know what, I met this crazy woman at the dog park. She shared a joke, but it was really good." And they proceed to share. And
Yeah.
then maybe they'll meet somebody, an old friend or somebody on the phone and go, "I got to put a check on your price. I got to tell you this joke."
Hmm.
It goes along, laughter goes a long way.
Absolutely, absolutely. And an act of kindness is what you give out in terms of kindness comes back tenfold, if not more. And I want you to be able to end our podcast with a chuckle at the very end because you're so good at that. Because the one that you told me is so good with regards to the puzzle of the rooster. But you can pick another one. That's one
Oh,
that
yeah.
I love that you told me. And thank you for that. It really gives a glimpse into it. So people who are working in terms of the emotional, yes, it does have some of the things that when you were younger, you weren't able to be able to have a global picture and understanding it. So some of the comment that your parent or an uncle or an aunt that might have said to you, but they didn't mean to kind of hurt you. They were just making a statement. One that I can think of is when my dad used to tell me when I was younger that I couldn't properly sweep the broom using a broom properly. I would always look awkward when I'm sweeping the floor. And then he would point out to why I couldn't be like my sister. My little sister was 7 years younger than me, and she just had a natural knack of sweeping the house. And I was like, what's the difference between the way how I was holding the broom versus the way my sister was holding the broom? I guess I really wasn't good at this thing. But that actually internalized because I didn't have the capability to say, well, he was just referring to the broom about the sweeping. But I actually took that into other sphere of my life and saying, I'm completely inadequate. Like I can't even sweep the floor properly. What's going to make me be able to be competent in like my business or in the world of my career and stuff? And then as I got older, I questioned those saying and that my parents said, and I kind of put it into the context. Our parent did the best that they could, like you said, and they make statements that sometimes they're not even thinking about it. It wasn't meant to hurt you. They were just referring to one specific item. So I had to isolate that and then allow myself to with positive affirmation that it's not that he was referring to the fact that I couldn't do anything. That's me taking it on in other sphere of my life. And then I actually had to change that belief to I was able and I'm not inadequate. But yeah, that's such a ridiculous, like to me, when I look back, I was like, that's such a ridiculous example. But if you haven't overcome it, there's so many of these things that we say to our children and then it stay imprinted to their adulthood. So you definitely want to work on that emotional, right, Alexi?
Oh, absolutely. It's just imperative, totally imperative.
Absolutely. And then with regards to what are some of your suggestions if you have like 2 or 3 tips with like people who are coming to you that may be struggling with physical, emotional, how to get rid of some of the toxin in their life, like where would they start?
Well, definitely commit that you're going to do it no matter what, and you'll get the help no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
There are friends that will support you if you don't want to go to your friends. There are support groups. Reach out,
Yeah.
because we're not meant to be solo players. There's a lot of inspirational information on the internet, people that, that you may look forward to, like maybe Marianne Williamson or Bruce Lipton or,
Mm-hmm.
and then, there's, just do your research.
Yeah.
Same thing that I did. Do your research. There are alternative ways. Don't listen to the naysayers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Follow your heart. What is your heart telling you to do?
Mm-hmm.
You know, whatever you put into your body, into
Mm-hmm.
your mouth, into your mind, is it feeding good healthy brain cells? Is it feeding good, healthy brain or cells for your body? Like really start paying attention and always be grateful. At the end of the day, be really cognizant of what am I grateful for today, but also why.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful because I attended this webinar and I learned so much. Why? Because I'm going to be able to apply it. I'm going to be able to share it, whatever. Always add a why to it. And in
Yeah.
the morning when you get up, okay, what can I do today to help somebody and to help myself?
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't be just self-reference, be self and other reference. Who can I help? Who can I inspire? Maybe who can help me?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And those are very good in terms of suggestion. Be curious, explore, learn. And also you are not alone. Like I like to see the world. Like there is one thing that I grew up with, and that might sound weird to some of the audience. I don't think my audience know a whole lot, but I talk a lot with regards to intuitions and stuff like that, but more in my book with regards to being extremely younger, um, getting like some kind of a download from the universe or whoever you wanted to, I don't know if it's
Mhm.
Buddha or my ancestor, but hearing like voices in my head of things. Oh, that is more like my heart telling me what to do. That's how I see it. To me, it's all the same,
Mhm.
right? So being told as a very, very young that no matter what happened, and I believe this to be true in every aspect of my life, that I don't have to worry because in the worst of case, whatever happens in my life, there's always going to be somebody who's going to show me the path to the right way. So I never
Mhm.
felt alone.
Mhm.
That's like the one thing that somebody said in my head when I was younger is that no matter what the struggle may be for you, you'll never be alone and just ask for help. But on a condition, it says I can only help you when you have exhausted all of your um like the attempt and the trying. I can't come and help you if you haven't helped yourself. So it's only when I like say for example when I've gone through my divorce or overcoming the passing of my sister, I can only ask for help when I've done all of the work myself. And then there would be time when I was going through the divorce where I had absolutely no idea how to deal with the situation, was so difficult. And I just cried and I sat and I said, okay, I've exhausted every bit of what I can do for myself and I don't know what else to do. So please help me. And then the next thing you know is I would meet some kind of a random stranger and they would say a sentence that
Oh,
just all of
absolutely.
a sudden gave the solution and in perspective and things just make sense. And I'm like, it is that simple, but yet I couldn't find it myself. So I want you to understand that when you're going through the struggle, some of us, especially in the Western world, it does really feel kind of isolated and alone because I've gone through that, but I want you to know that there are so many organizations and people that you can reach out with. And then if you want to get to know a little bit more, definitely Alexi is a good path to start out with as well, how to journey in this process. And then we're going to share after later on how people can reach you, Alexi. I want to also touch base as well. So some of the things that when people go through these challenges, because you have so much knowledge, you know so much. What are some of the ritual that they can maybe start doing to get them on the healthy path in terms of physical, in terms of emotional, in terms of spiritual, and like their surrounding?
Well, definitely physically, start really paying attention to what you're putting into your body.
Mm,
Like I said, the glyphosates. Not everybody can afford to eat organic, but there is what comes out every year called the Dirty Dozen or the Healthy 15.
mm,
Same site, ewg.org, where they list the most sprayed and the ones that you don't have to eat organic. It's a really great guide. It's like business card size. You can download it and take it, put it in your wallet when you go grocery shopping. So
mhm.
really pay attention to what you are putting into your body physically.
Okay.
Emotionally, um, really practice random acts of kindness. Show kindness to other people. Be grateful for the good things and for the bad things. and, resolve those negative triggers that are holding you back from
Mm.
negative experiences, past experiences.
Yeah.
Be
Yeah.
proactive, you know.
Mhm.
Um, if it's just like fixing the holes in your roof,
Yeah.
you know. So plug this hole and plug that hole because there's going to be more than one hole in your roof.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it could be an emotional trigger from your aunt. It could be an emotional trigger from your neighbor. It could be an emotional trigger from your parent. So those holes have to be fixed, and it's very easy to do. But you
Yeah.
have to decide you want to do it. You have to be proactive. You have to you have to be the one to take the action step. The journey. What's that saying? The journey of a starts with one step. I can't remember the whole quote of what it is.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's something about what Einstein had said too. Like you have to, is it Einstein? I think so. You have to take the first step, and then the higher you get, you'll get the bigger picture. Like you'll be able to have a better perspective and see the bigger picture of it all. So something similar to that. I think there's another quote of what you said. There's so many different people
Yeah.
who said with regards to taking the first step, but a journey on 1,000 mile or something starts
Yeah,
with the
something like that. One step, something like
yeah,
that. Yeah.
first step to get there. And that's great. So we said physical, emotional, and
And mentally, uh, take the time to meditate. You
yeah.
really need to clear your mind to find that inner wisdom, that inner guidance. Walks in nature are great. Connecting with nature, if you can, depending on when you're living, walk
Mhm.
barefoot along the water.
Mhm.
There's a Dr. Wallace Nichols. He's got a movie called Blue Mind. It's
Mhm.
free. You can download it for free. A marine biologist. He says anytime you are in, on, or near water, you are in a semi-meditative state. Why do
Mm.
people flock to the islands in the wintertime and go to their cottages in the summertime? There's powerboating, sailing, skiing, canoeing, water sports, snorkeling. It's that
Mhm.
water connection. And you think of it, we spent the first 9 months in water
Yeah.
in that safe environmental space. So what Dr. Wallace Nichols did is he took a group of retired Marine
Mm.
uh, veterans to the Caribbean to repopulate the coral. They were all suffering from PTSD. They
Mm.
all recovered. They
Wow.
all recovered. It's that connection to water. It's that calming, soothing. Water births are becoming very popular today. So
Mm.
what can you do on a daily basis with water? On your screensaver, the sound of waves crashing against the shore or raindrops.
Mhm.
Don't forget the bath, and baths are not exclusive to women only.
Mhm.
You know, you
Yeah.
can, there's just so much you can do with
Those are such
water.
great advice. They're so good. I never thought of that. Water is true. Like I didn't know what it is about water that makes it so soothing. But now that you just explain it, it makes perfect sense. I'm the type of person who needs to be around water. My dream is to one day own a beach home, like a beautiful home in
Mm-hmm.
front of a beach. And I move after the divorce to be closer to water. So where I'm living in the town that I'm living now, I'm constantly walking nearby water. Something about the water is so calming to me. And I did a swimming class a while back. I did yoga, and that allows me to be calm for a good hour after the course. But when I took swimming class, and this is why for seniors and children overall love to splash in the water. When I took the swimming class, I thought I hated swimming because I didn't think I liked to be in water. I'm afraid to be cold. But after my swimming class of an hour of like doing laps and swimming and just tapping around the water, I monitor it. I had 6 hour of calmness. Like I would come home from the swimming and the kids would be like children be screaming and yelling, and then I would even get into like some kind of disagreement with my ex-husband at the time, and I was just zen. I was like my body had the cold water. And the other thing that I do is I realized for myself, and it's learning to detect your pattern. I don't know that that's something that for everybody, but I'm sure something about water is very beneficial. Me, the quickest way to resolve any kind of stress or intensity in my body, I need to shower. Like when I start getting cranky and impatient, or I'm not feeling up to my top shape, I kick myself in the butt and I go and hop in the shower and I come back out. It is miraculous. I'm calmer. I'm seeing more ideas. I'm less irritated because there was one point quickly I would get into arguments with my boyfriend and he's done nothing absolutely wrong, but I was just the day of the stress was stuck in my body. So when I went to shower, all of that toxicity, like it's almost
Mhm.
like a visual thing, all of that toxicity seems to wash away from my body and the touch of the coal on my skin, it's almost like it's breathe or it understands something and it allows me to stay calm. So very good point. Thank you for that. It's great example, Alexi.
Yeah, another thing that I do daily is what can you do to keep yourself in a happy state? Because
Mm,
people think that when they're successful, they're going to be happy. No, it's not. You're happy first.
yeah.
Dr. Sean Akers, a well-respected Harvard um, um, professor,
Mhm.
did studies on happiness.
Yeah.
And so he has shown there's a site called Positive Prime. I'll
Mhm.
send you the link. And they have different categories, about 10 different categories: wellness, spirituality, health, relationships, um, wisdom, whatever. And in each category, there's probably 10, 12, 15 videos. And all they do is you have vision or what I'm trying to say, um, nice views on the screen,
Mhm.
like sunsets,
Mhm.
celebrations, baby laughing,
Mhm.
celebrating at the office,
Mhm.
birthday party with messages saying you are worthy. You
Mhm.
can do it, like positive affirmative
Mhm.
messages, and depending on the category, it's sort of appropriately adjusted. And it has been shown that if you spend 3 minutes on any one of these videos per day,
Mhm.
it increases your cognitive and decision-making skills by 31% that lasts 6 to 7 hours.
Wow, that's
So,
amazing.
so who wouldn't want to start their day that way? All you have to do is 3 minutes.
I love it. I love it. And it's my God, you taught me a whole lot and like things I do it without knowing unconsciously, but now like you kind of put and you named it and I understand it. So thank you for sharing. So powerful. Um it makes sense. Like I would have things around my house, like since I moved from the divorce, because from the previous one, I couldn't decorate anything in my home without being criticized that it was too tacky or whatever. Like I had no sense of, I don't know, like good taste or something along that line. So I think I just thought it was a different culture. So so I could never hang anything that I really want. And then so if I got one, I had to beg, and that was not normal. So the first thing that I wanted to do when after divorce was to decorate my home the way that I want, the way that it speaks to my heart. And I love that message that you said, in order to feel emotionally healthier and balance is to do more of the things that you love that really makes your heart sings and vibrate. It really does do something to you. It allows you to balance off the toxicity. All day long we're constantly bombarded by negative thoughts and worries and all of that, things that we worry about the past and so on. And then so to be able to fulfill that with something that is going to bring you joy and pleasure will really be good for your emotional. But something that what you said with regards to seeing picture of it, just 3 minutes a day of something that's uplifting, it totally makes sense. That's why, like on my saver screen, I have something that I really enjoy. And again, it has pictures of water. But when I had in my divorce, everything in my household, it's everything that's there, it's everything that I want it to be there. I bought, like, yes, they were a little bit more expensive. Like I was thinking when I moved here, do I settle for budget wise? And I had to be reasonable, just buying things because it was cheaper, but I didn't particularly like them. They were just okay. But I've learned over time that just buying something that is just okay, that's almost like sending a signal, a subconscious signal to yourself that you couldn't afford or wasn't worthy for something more. So what I did was I bought some of the things that were in my budget. Um, that I like, but I bought a couple pieces that were more expensive, but something that really speaks to my heart. And I have those in my house. And I don't know why, like, but now I understand that when I look at those pieces, that really speaks to my heart. And yes, they were a little bit pricey, but they're worth everything. Like, I bought myself a new set of bed and a new set of like makeup section. And every day when I come into my bedroom, I just feel zen and happy. It's so
Mm.
weird, but it really does an effect. So thank you for that. Just looking at an image 3 minutes a day can really make a huge difference. That's powerful.
Right, absolutely. So, there's just so many things we can do that feed our soul.
Yeah.
And, when you're in that good state, it'll vibrate out to other people and go, what are you doing? Like you seem so different, or, they'll be inspired by what you're doing. Let's
Mhm.
be a beacon of light to other people because everybody's fighting some kind of journey.
Yeah, exactly. And especially now, more and more every day, especially in the Western world, the level
Mhm.
of stress here is just insane. And and it's proven in the research, like in the Western world, the level of stress compared to so many other country around the world, it is unheard of. Like the level of stress we're exposed to. This is why it's more and more crucial for us to be surrounded by pleasure and things that really uplift our spirits and our vibration. I love that. And when you mentioned with regards to gratitude, some people have a hard time with gratitude. And so gratitude of being just checking back in with your body, like what Jackie had mentioned about like just checking back with your body and tuning, grounding yourself, because we can worry all day long being in our head, but just having that ability to ground ourselves and to be grateful for what we have, the power of now. I I used to struggle with the power of now. And the only way that I understood the power of now was through the eyes of my children. Having children allow me to be present because everything for them is a brand new discovery. So when I started embracing and looking through everything in life and everything that I have through the eyes of the now, and in this particular moment, there's no better moment. It really allows you to embrace what's to come. You're not so caught up in the worry. So, how does a person start with feeling gratitude when they don't?
There's always going to be something that you can be grateful for. Be
Mhm,
grateful that you have a roof over your head, that you have water, that you have food, that you
mhm,
have a car to drive, that you maybe have a job, that maybe you have a pet, that
mhm.
maybe you have a friend, that your parents are still alive. There's always something to be grateful for. That you've got
Yeah.
the internet that you can be inspired by. Listen to inspirational or
Mhm,
mindfulness um, quotes every day. There's a plethora of them out there just to really um, motivate you. There's always something you can be grateful for. You know,
mhm,
there's
mhm.
I get these inspirational little messages um, online, and this one really touched me. So if I may,
Yes, please.
I just want to read it, and it says, "I deeply and profoundly believe in myself. I recognize how far I've come.
Mhm,
I acknowledge all that I have overcome.
mhm,
I give myself credit for the way I show up for myself and others. I have done hard things before, and I can do hard things again.
mm.
I have all the resources I need within me.
Yeah.
I trust I can start on my own when I choose to and ask for help when I need it.
Mhm.
I recognize how strong I am. I am capable of great things."
Oh, thank you. That's so good. Such a good reminder. And it's similar to something that I wrote down for my webinar group of my group of females. So it's good to know that I'm actually on the right track here. So that's a good confirmation. But you really are capable and you have all of the answer within yourself. So trust into your inner wisdom and let your higher self guide you when you um, open up and allow the universe to speak through you, and to have faith. Like in the example of Alexi, she knew she was going to be able to overcome cancer. She didn't know how, but she chose to believe. And believe is a powerful thing. In Napoleon Hill's story, which is one of the great founder as well, with regards to mastering life and overcoming obstacle and like being able to be financially free, it's really starting with the belief that you can. If you think that you can, like you had mentioned, if you think that you can, you will. But if you think you can't, you're right. You won't be able to. So it really is that powerful. I also want to be able to highlight you as well, Alexi. What do you have going on that's presently taking place that you would like to share with people? Know that it's within the next 6 weeks, 7 weeks before I launch this off, because I do have people ahead. So within that time frame, is there something that you're working on that you would like to share with the public?
Well, by then I hope to have launched my own podcast show.
Yay!
So, I'm working on all the logistics and everything else is involved in it, as you would know.
Yes.
And I'm quite excited about it. So, there's just so much, no, and things kind of fall into place as they're meant to, not
Yes.
as you want them to, but when the timing is right. And so, I started off with the cancer, and then I started left that and focused on the dementia. And
Mhm.
then somebody said, well, marry the two together because it's still the same thing. It's still toxicity,
Yeah.
mental, emotional, and physical. And I went, okay, so things sort of just gel when they're meant to. We can't force things. And you just believe it. The main thing is it's always action. Always take action.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No matter how imperfect those actions are, take action because they lead you to other action and inspiration that really opens up your door. Alexi, this is such a powerful interview. I am so grateful you reach out to me, and I'm so grateful to be connecting with you. You are full of wisdom and full of inspiration. I got so much. I'm gonna be re-listening to my own podcast.
And the thing about it is, like when things are meant to happen, they will. And if you think about it, it's
Mhm.
just a week ago that we were in a breakout group
Yeah,
together, and that's how we connected. So
ex-
how's that for divine intervention, if you want to call it that way?
it really is divine intervention, and I love and adore you. And I want to leave that message with that is that, sometimes life has a beautiful way of giving you a gift, but not in the way, in the form, in the shape that you might have expected to be. But it always gives you a gift, and learning to embrace however that shows up for you and just going with that flow and just being in gratitude will take you far. It's something that I try to remind myself often is learning to just embrace and just go with the flow. Sometimes you want to control things, you want it to look in a certain way, you want it to turn out in a certain, but then it doesn't. It's like taking a moment and just observing and going, huh, not exactly quite the way that I want it to be, but it can actually be quite more magnificent than I had imagined it in my head. So
Hmm.
thank you for that. And I think you said your last quote, but we are going to end it because you said your quote that I love, which is,
Right.
I'll let you say that, and then we'll
Well,
end it with a chuckle because we're talking about kindness and spreading the love and sharing laughter as being longevity for everybody. So we'll end it with that. But please say your quote.
well, if you think you can, you're right. And if you think you can't, you're also right.
That's right.
But you also take action.
I love it. I love it. And so let's end this with a beautiful chuckle. I can't wait to hear what it's about.
Okay, so this lady rushes out of the drugstore and she realizes that she's locked the keys to her car.
Mhm.
So she clasps her hands together, looks up to the heavenly skies, and she says, God, please send me somebody to unlock the keys to my car. Within a minute, a biker appears.
Mhm.
Tattoos, skull cap, big bear belly. Hey, lady, you need some help? Oh, please, please, sir. I have these meds for my daughter. She's sick at home and I have to get home. And can you unlock my car?
Mhm.
Within 3 minutes, the car is unlocked. She
Mm.
clasps her hands one more time, looks up to the skies, and she says, God, thank you so much for sending me such a nice man. The
Oh.
biker overhears. He says, Lady, I'm not a nice guy. I just got out of prison for car theft. One more time, with clasped hands, she looks up to the skies and she says, God, Thank you so much for sending me a professional.
Oh, I love it. It's so good. Oh my God, it's so good. Oh, and it syncs so well with what you're saying. See, like you don't know what kind of form and gift actually the universe sends out your way. And here she is in trouble. And here is another man that's just right out of prison. And such a great way for her to see it. Thank you for sending me like an expert in the field, a professional in this field. And it's really about how you choose to see it, because another person might have looked at that and go, oh my God, I could have gotten, really hurt
exactly.
her.
Yeah.
But she chose to say, thank you for sending me a professional in this field. I love it. Thank you for that. Such a good one. I'm going to be stealing all of your chuckle. Send it all my way, and I'm going to have a repertoire of this. Thank you so much, Alexi, for this beautiful interview. I hope you guys all enjoy that. I think you really have some really powerful message in this. If you really apply what she had mentioned, because you really broke it down very well. And I'm going to use that in my own life as well. So thank you for the gift. So I hope you all enjoyed. Wishing you a great day, everybody. Take care.